Welcome to Talking Hats.
I'm Monty Squirrels.
And I'm Old Man Wolfie.
And today we are here to introduce Sapphire Scales. As those who have frequented our channel, Squiggle Squad Studios, you may have noticed that our shield has 3 characters. We got the grumpy old wolf bear on top, dragon ferret over here. Well, this is the ferret fox. She is our official 3rd member.
Ferret fox?
Sure.
Dragon fox.
Dragon fox. See, I had half.
I'm not a ferret.
No.
No. You're the weasel.
I'm not a weasel. I'm a ferret.
Distinctions. It's like degrees.
Anyway, so she's not necessarily going to be regular on Talking Hats podcast itself, since it's only one of the things that we do on our channel. But you should have already heard her voice serenading you outside of some of our Let's Plays.
I sing, but no.
But we may have her on from time to time, because she is one of us. This is the official 3 squaddies for Squiggle Squad. This is the full squad right here.
I'm good with being in the background.
Yeah, she has stage fright. We're working on it.
We'll fix this.
Hey!
Time and pressure and pressure and pressure. pressure. So to introduce yourself, Sapphy, what's your geek wheelhouse? What are the things you geek out about best? Like, you obviously you'll love all geek stuff most of it, but it's like, where are your focuses? Like, I have mostly video games and anime and things like that. Where are your most loved geeky passions?
Video games, books, anime, and Netflix. Does Netflix count? I like some of the shows on there. I don't know.
Can you be a Netflix fangirl? Is that a thing?
In the modern world, I'm pretty sure you can be.
Is there a Netflix con?
Yeah, and also music, because yes,
band nerd or just music?
Music. Period. I've been in orchestra. No, I've never played in band. I'm not one of those. 1 year at band camp. No.
Band nerd is definitely not the same thing as your general music nerd.
No,
trust me,
they're a league of their own.
One of my brothers was in band, and my sister was color guard. So trust me, there's difference. There's definite difference.
They could, yeah. No, I was in orchestra. I play violin. I don't do yes, I want to learn how to play woodwinds and such, but that's beside the point. But no,
violins are better.
Yeah. As saying, I play a little piano, I know a little bit of guitar. But that's not what this is about. Yes, I like music, but...
Well, no, it's like we are... This is not just video games or anime. This is, granted, it's been nothing but Dragon Con and Blizzard since we started. Sorry! Even last episode, when I was interviewing Chu and Andrew about being love and geeks, Dragon Con comes up. Constantly. But that's how I met her, and but like the Bootgate happened during Dragon Con, so it's like we won't get away from it as much as we'd like to. But we're not just video games and anime. We are anything geek. This is what we are passionate. We are here to share with you, the internet, whether you want it or not, everything we love and what makes us passionate. So yeah, you can be a music nerd. That can be part of what you bring here. That gives us the extra perspective, We've got, decrepit old man, we've got mid-90s dude, and then we have gamer girl.
I really need to bring a cane to these things where I can shake it at people.
I keep telling you.
I
have a cane.
I have an idea for a cane that I want to see if I can make, where I can put like a dragon on it, but maybe I can make it a wolf instead.
Get off my lawn!
Can we put a little patch of grass up here and put off on it? Yeah.
So, and something else I like to introduce is, we both talked about on our first episode, and these are questions I asked Chu and Andrew as well, is our defining geek moment. What in our lives that we feel solidified us being a geek and making this a strong passion of our lives. Now, I call it a geek moment, but for a lot of people it's not necessarily one thing, and you have an excellent example of that. So, why don't you explain your defining geek moment, as it were? Why it is there's there's liking superhero movies and comic books, and then there's being a geek about it. They are not the same thing. You are definitely the geek about it. Okay?
If you say so. I don't think I am, but that's just me. And he's been
How many Sailor Moon keychains do you have?
Oh, good lord, you had to bring that one up.
This is not the actions of someone who's not a geek. I rest my case.
I like the like keychains. They're pretty.
And should I mention who's living in your living room?
Huh? Oh, that was a Christmas present from you. So don't even go there. Good Lord. Or was it Christmas or birthday? No, it was birthday.
Yeah.
Because it was just after ZenkaiCon. But
anyway, so yes, you are a geek. You just embrace it. Be happy. Be proud of it.
That's the whole point of the channel.
Yeah, it's like this is a celebration of everything we love and want to share with the world. And that's why we want to interview people about being geeky and being loved. Because it's not talked about that much other than this is how the geek gets the girls. Like, no, I want to see, here's a story of two geeks finding each other. You know?
Yeah, your story. I've known both of you for years. Your story is weird.
Well, yes. So,
it's a good story, but it's weird.
So, share with the fans. Like I said, whether they want it or not, they're getting it.
Well,
What solidified being a geek for you? It doesn't, like I said, it's not necessarily, this is not like a one-time thing. And, like, you know, and it'd be good for other people here who feel that, you know, they're a geek, but they can't say, well, I'm a geek because of this, I'm a geek because of this. It's like there's this whole thing, and hearing a similar story, knowing that there's someone else that understands where they're coming from with why they're a geek and their passion is something that's good, something worth sharing.
As I was talking to him about it earlier, the biggest thing for me was it was just a way to run away. I can't say there was ever really one defining moment so much as just whenever... Growing up, I was bullied by not only people close to me, but going to school on a day-to-day basis. I could come home and just veg out to something other than books. Once the first system I had was a Sega Genesis, I used to veg out to Sonic the Hedgehog because I beat my head against it for hours. Now I go back and play it and I can actually beat it within like 2 or 3 hours or something like that. But back then, that's what I did. It was another way. If I didn't have any new books to read or anything else that I could run away to, I would occasionally write and that sort of thing, but they were all shit.
Well,
I'm not going to say they're not. My brain is twisted.
Every kid has their magnum opus that when they're writing, and then they're like,
this is amazing.
And you
look back at it and you're like,
Yeah.
what the hell is this?
Yeah, seriously.
Why did I write
was
this?
I on drugs?
Yeah.
Tell me I was on drugs.
Something.
Please tell me I was on drugs.
Music would only work to a point, and then, because that's all oral, that's all what you hear and how you process it. There's nothing visual to it.
Right.
Unless you're watching music videos. But even
then,
that's not really... You're not actively doing something. Whereas with a video game, I was actively, instead of reading and imagining it in my head, or playing my violin and losing myself in that, it was something I was actively doing. I was putting myself into another story and actively playing it out instead of just being...
And get to be somebody
a
else.
passerby, yeah.
Who's at least seemed to have a better life than you did at the time.
Pretty much. Although I wouldn't constitute Lara Croft as having a better life than me.
More exciting.
She got herself into some shit situation.
Yeah, but she's also kind of a
more
sociopath, and when she's confronted with a problem, her solution is to shoot it.
Yeah.
There's something empowering about that. Pointy boobs, despite the pointy boobs.
I mean, you can go back and forth about, the boobs were a mistake, they left it in, or they really did it on purpose. Like, doesn't really matter.
No.
I mean, should we have better care with how we treat a protagonist in stories? Absolutely. But despite that, there are girls who grew up with her as a legitimate role model, not just as a sexy girl. It was a legitimate role model. So it's like, we can't just completely forget that.
And then I guess the other big thing is I realized I could actually be a healthy perfectionist. Because I could go back and actually, no, wait, I can do this 100%. So I would. A lot of the Tomb Raider games, that's what I did. Same with Spyro the Dragon, too. I would go back and I get all the little things.
Oh, no, so you're not doing Spyro right until you can get 100% in one run, only ever going to each level once, and carrying everything out in sequence, and never having to go back.
I've done that with the first Spyro.
Yeah,
The second one, I got close. The third one, no. Because the third one, they broke it up.
Yeah, it's a little...
You couldn't do it
The structure
that way.
was a little more different, but yeah. So
yeah, no.
But the thing is that was that... What was the first science, nerd, geek things that you remember, like game thing that you remember liking just beyond the game? So it's like, what inspires you, like, either to... investigate like the story of a game, like
write a horrible fanfic about
or something like that. God knows.
Admittedly, I've never done the fanfic thing.
Well, fanfic or /fic?
Neither.
Okay.
I've never done that. I've never gone there. And
we only,
now I've read others people's interpretations of that.
We can only take your word for it to realize.
For crying out loud. No, that's something I don't want to butcher. And that's kind of how it is, because video games to me, certain ones especially, they're art. I don't want to butcher someone else's character.
So basically, trying to write a fan fiction, or heaven forbid, a slash fiction, about a piece of work that you would often use as your escape, as your, catharsis, would ruin the escape and the catharsis for you.
Yeah.
Because you needed it to be what it was, not something else.
Yeah, no.
And then she looks at the Rule 34 and then cringes all over the place.
Huh?
Rule 34.
The Rule 34.
What's
Rule 34 of the internet?
If there's something
if it exists, there's a porn about it.
Oh, that, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I've stumbled across some of the Sonic stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm sorry. The Sonic, because there needs to be a new rule for Sonic, because 34 does not cover everything. Sonic fans are, I don't understand. I really, really
Sonic
don't.
fans and Dragon Ball Z. It's like, those are the ones that I'm like, I don't even know where to begin.
I don't. It's like, what the hell?
No, it's also the fact that the gigantic mountain. Because it's like, wow. It's like to inspire so many characters. So this is the thing that launched, well, Sonic in particular is the character that launched a million furries.
Yeah.
But as for, like, what... The first thing that I got obsessive over was actually Sailor Moon. I'll admit that. Game-wise...
Nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, come on. Sailor Moon is, even in its edited state when it was localized, is iconic for people out here.
As for video games... It wasn't Sonic, it wasn't even Spyro, it was Zelda, but that really didn't hit until I was in my 20s. I didn't seriously actually play any of the Zelda games until I was in my 20s, and that's because I didn't have access to the systems.
Right. What was your first Zelda?
The first one I played was Ocarina of Time.
Yeah,
so,
that's... Of all the Zelda games for people in our age and a little younger, a little older, it's either Link's Past or Ocarina of Time that is their Zelda landmark.
And then it's one of those ones...
And they're old farts like me who's like, it's the original Zelda on the original NES, on the, yeah.
What? No, was it Link's Adventure that did it for you?
Uh-oh, that look says everything.
No, this is like, I'm old, I'm not that old. I was like,
what? That was the second Zelda game.
I know, but, no, it's the... Oh, no, but when I first, literally, NES, first couple of games for the NES, endless hours of playing Duck Hunt.
Oh, good lord.
Shooting the dog, because everyone shot the dog.
Yes.
Dog's an asshole.
Anyone who tells me they didn't shoot the dog is lying.
Yes. I agree. I can agree with that.
But those early... Yeah, but one of the things that you said about, Sailor Moon was the first thing that, you really caught your interest. It's like, no different from when I was a kid and I was watching, Battle of the Planets.
Okay.
Which, despite being localized to death...
yeah, they, relocalized it as a different adaptation, 3 times?
Oh, yeah, that was already been 3 incarnations. And admittedly, the most horribly butchered one is the first one, the original Sandy Frank,
The Star Blazers one?
No, it was originally Battle of Planets, because it was Gatchaman. Gatchaman was...
Yeah.
But Battle of Planets, being the first one, was the one where they literally chop up episodes to make things happen out of order so that characters that die don't die, or that are...
What? No?
And watching it as an adult, and now I'm sitting going, their characters are there was an episode where the scientist who dies, and they're trying to play it off that they're crying because they're so happy, and I'm going, no. Wow, I was a dumb child for not spotting this earlier.
Part of what the Times was like. For kids is often the worst spoken of offender.
Oh, good
but
Lord.
To make it, because, kids can't handle death. We can't have that in our show.
Then again, with the Sailor Moon thing, we can't handle nudity either.
Oh my goodness, 2 girls like each other. We can't have that. They're just cousins, and because that doesn't make it worse.
Oh God! Yeah.
And the 2 villains that were the same gender that they suddenly made one because one was more.
Oh, shit! I know that one, and I can't.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, there's that too.
But once, this actually worked for the localizers, to their favor. Voltron Go Lion. One of the pilots dies. But in the localization, they just say, he didn't die, but they send him back to homeworld to get medical care. But he was such a popular character in the original Go Lion that eventually they introduced a new character who was his cousin that looked exactly like him and acted exactly like him. So when the localization reached that point, he came back from the medical center. And he was all better.
Okay. All right. If it works, it works.
One of the rare chances where the localization works. The other one being Robotech.
Yeah, well,
being a mashup of like two completely different series into one. The fact that it makes such a cohesive narrative is actually a miracle.
But that was one of the first ones where I remember a cartoon having a actual bloodshed like this, because when
I remember that from the early cartoons.
Yeah, because he was one of the ones I can't remember which character. It's been so long, but the one who was in his cockpit, they find his cockpit all bloodied because it's
been forever since I watched it.
But the thing is that I remember that being very, very like, oh my god, they did this, because I actually knew that was coming. And I'm like, oh wow,
it's actually blood.
It's
not black or green.
Or
colored over.
Yeah, or colored. Yeah, that's how they get away with,
Oh yeah,
it's aliens.
Like a common censor tactic for Splatterhouse on was that NES or Super NES? On NES. In some regions, to censor it, they colored the blood green instead of red, and that made it okay. It's the same reason that pad and tampon commercials have blue.
Oh, for crying out loud. And that's just dumb. I'm sorry!
Because people can't handle blood, apparently. Or even the thought of, no, we're not talking about peeing on this thing. This is, I have an open wound, thank you. But yeah, same idea.
That just...
But
no, that shit drives me nuts.
Those early geek experiences are the ones that are like very, 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 very formative.
I grew up with Sailor Moon and Pokemon were on TV when I was a kid, and I watched them here and there, but I didn't really follow them. But
Pokemon, I did a little bit, and I got invested in the game for a bit, the card game too. But the original. I had
Pokemon Red.
I think?
Yeah, 250.
Past that, I'm like,
I had Pokemon Red. I beat Red. I got Yellow when it came out because it was the Pikachu one, and I played through it, but I never finished it. I didn't know how far I got.
Any of those systems. I had my Genesis and my PS1 growing up, and that was it. I wasn't allowed to have any of the handheld systems.
Yeah, it's like the Game Boy was one of my first handheld systems, actually.
I didn't
my first systems in general.
Into any of the handhelds until I was old enough to buy them myself.
Okay, where was I going? But what really solidified anime for me was Slayers and Bubblegum Crisis.
Okay.
Slayers I got from my online friend Zell. He's like, I'm going to videotape the first season of it and send it to you. And when the box shows up, it's the first 2 seasons. He's like, yeah, I got carried away.
Oops.
Back when you had to work to share.
Yeah, seriously.
Like,
and that's not a small number of tapes that he manually recorded each one and then sent this box of VHSs to me.
It's so much easier now.
Yes.
Good Lord.
And I would marathon those all the time. And
here's
then
the thumb drive of
now
seriously, or just log into this website. Here you go.
This is the last 8 seasons of 20 anime. It's like it was all fit on one.
And then Bubblegum Crisis, my brother had it on DVD or VHS, I don't remember which. And when I would babysit my niece, after she went to bed, I could watch whatever anime he had, and that's when I watched Bubblegum Crisis for the first time. So.
Yeah. That was, the Sailor Moon thing was just, I found out it was on early in the morning, so I would wake up and watch it, but usually 90% of the time one of my folks would get up and, oh hey, you're not allowed to watch TV, go back to bed. Whatever.
Parents are weird.
Yeah, whatever.
But you survived.
Yeah.
And you have blossomed into a wonderful geek, even though you don't always, act with pride. You really need to act with pride.
She's ashamed of her geekness sometimes.
I swear. She doesn't want to be seen with us in public.
Okay, that's a crock of shit. And you know it. Don't even. Good Lord.
But she's a work in progress.
Yeah.
And they'll fix me up eventually.
We have the technology.
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun. This is a reference that most people are not going to get if they are younger than me. If they're my age, they may not get it because I was watching it in reruns on a classic TV channel.
Oh God.
Yep. The fact that they're by the time you came around, they were already 10 years old.
Yeah,
wow.
and
that's how you're born. Because that was $6 Million Man was mid-70s, so that would be like when I was a child, and as when I was like a
You're old.
Yeah, I am.
I love you to bits.
I remember when today's science is yesterday's fiction.
Oh God, yeah, dude, like cell phones and all that sort of shit.
No, you do not understand. It's like, wait until we get to Wolfie Rants, where we start discussing the fact that I was working with a science fiction club, where the problem with these people is they had not accepted, they would not, for people who are supposed to be so forward thinking, would not adapt to modern technology, could not adapt to modern technology, and were terrified of it.
And these are sci-fi fans.
Yeah,
all right.
Sci-fi
supposedly will be the ones
you
who...
would think they'd just accept it. It's like, oh, hey, something new I can play with.
Nope.
That's no longer fiction.
Email was scary and terrifying. It was new and terrifying and scary, and and they were unwilling to, and it was the unknown, so therefore it could not be taken seriously. People didn't want to give out their cell phones because they were, this new technology. They didn't want everyone else knowing their cell phone numbers.
Russians were going to take it.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah,
sounds like.
Sorry.
Yeah, they were early adopters of things like printing presses and and weaving machines and things like that. But I think a couple of them, I think the sewing machine would have been a little too technologically advanced for them.
And these are sci-fi fans.
Yes.
Funny thing about you were mentioning printing presses. Aside from them being electronic, they really haven't changed.
Oh, that entirely. Yeah.
And it's hysterical. It's really funny. You have all these technological advances and such, and something as simple as that, it's still the same damn thing.
Yep.
Well,
it's just on a bigger machine and has more capacity. That's it.
Like the way that they probably changed the way that the words everything get in there, but if
not really.
Well, no,
more efficient.
Yeah.
What they do now, what a lot of printing done, especially 3-color printing, is basically the same exact technology that was old when I was in high school.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's where they actually make the three separate plates and the black plate, so it's 4 plates. 4-plate technology is still being used, and it's changed. Actually, has changed because it has actually. It's not. The manufacturing process is exactly the same, but it's just now you can do large, huge, gigantic.
Yeah, it's the materials, the machines, like everything around it has probably gotten better, but the actual process is the same. It's like printers cannot handle that much printing and stay consistent. Is the problem.
The printing
press is still going to be the most effective way because laser, tone, inkjet doesn't matter. It's like even heat pressed. It's like, for consistency's sake on that scale, that's still the most effective.
It's hysterical, that's all. It's really funny, because that's the job I came from. It was manufacturing, and guess what?
These people would still have the movable type ones, where you have to put in the individual letters and push down.
They had that! We actually had, in the front, the reception area.
Ink.
In the reception area, because where I used to work, it was all printing checks and such. They had one of the old type set to run through the old-fashioned checks. You'd stamp it. And there you had, and you just, oh my God, it was hysterical. I'm like, I know exactly what that is. That's funny.
The funny thing about how technology is advanced is the fact that when you say, I was born in the 70s, like the guy. So I have more of my recollection starts around 76, 77 and on.
Mid to late 70s is where you start.
Where you start actually being
for me.
Of the world.
For us, it's the early 90s because the first 5 years of our life you don't really have that great of a memory for stuff.
Yeah. But
really?
Is
that what you do?
I wish if I was born in the early 80s, then I would actually have been able to experience it, and it would have been lovely because I have a unrequited love affair with the 80s.
Yeah, it's like which is coming. The 80s are kind of back again.
They are kind of coming back. A lot of the aesthetic of the 80s.
Well, then you get to live your 80s dream, and you're good.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but the thing that's interesting is that when we have our first formative years, anime was set the tone for what I thought was cool for a long time. And you start with Captain Harlock and Battle of the Planets, and that will pretty much ruin you for everything else that follows. Because for the rest of my growing up period, I would watch all the cartoons that would come out, like G.I. Joe. Everyone's like, "Oh, G.I. Joe's so wonderful." It's crap.
It is crap. It is objectively crap.
And they're so cool. No, I can show you cool over here.
Early Transformers is crap. It's not as objectively crap as G.I. Joe, but it's the same level of slapdash storytelling. But which kind of funny is because they were just based on toys that had no personalities whatsoever, so they didn't have anything to work off of. They managed to make every single one feel like a unique character. There were storylines that worked. You had, it was still kind of crap for what it was, but it was better than G.I. Joe. It was actually pretty good. It's something you can readapt to be good. Not that they're doing that, but
that's another discussion for another time.
Yeah,
but
no.
the thing is, what's really funny is that the first memories that like my first impressions of what cool and awesome, the awesomeness that was characters like Captain Harlock and all of the members of Gotchaman and things like that it kind of it did ruin me a little bit for
American cartoons.
For American cartoons, because it's like you get Mask and you get all these like Inhumanoids and all of these other shows where you're like, oh my god, this is
and people like I was like, well, these are just made to sell toys. It's like, I assure you, the toy lines for the shows in Japan will put the ones in America to shame.
And they did.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is
that's
that
no excuse to be crap.
So that was my formative years. That was the thing that informed my geekdom. That wasn't already a book, because my mom had us read, or was reading to me, The Hobbit, and then when I got a little bit older, we started with Lord of the Rings, and then I got into, I'm trying to think, because if my memory serves me, I jumped, like I did like Secret of NIMH, I did, I did those type of books for a while, then I jumped straight into the Piers Anthony books. The Magic of Zang, the Magic of Zan.
God.
Because that was like when I started getting into my like early teens. That was where I got into believe me, those early Piers Anthony books were great. The later ones, not so much. But
my favorite Piers Anthony is
porn. But
the Immortality.
The Incarnations of
That's
Immortality
it.
series, yes.
I have all of them.
Yeah,
I actually found them all used, so I didn't even have to.
Oh yeah,
dude,
and then like around that same point, Michael Moorcock. I read my.
Which I still need to read those.
Yes, you do. You want your gothic fantasy. There's your gothic fantasy. It's just pronunciations are going to kill you for the entire time, because he's really loves. He loves mixing different languages into his books. So it's like, so you have like French pronunciations versus German pronunciations versus
Why are you throwing all those in one freaking book? Are you insane?
That was
He's a writer.
He's a writer who apparently hates
Enough said. Because French is very lyrical. So is Spanish. German's not.
German's good when you want to have punch.
Yeah, it was like
Were they all the antagonists? Maybe.
No. The problem is when he does, because it's his.
I would say that basically everyone in that series is antagonists.
Yeah,
considering everything that Peter's told me.
Yeah, it's not a series. There are very few characters in the series who are.
I don't know if there are any good people.
Yeah, they're not. There are a couple. Actually, what's funny is that there are a couple who are more or less good.
Ish.
Good-ish. There are characters who could arguably be considered good characters. If I remember, I cannot remember which series it is, but there's one of the incarnations of heroes, whatever, the Eternal Champions. One of the Eternal Champions is actually pretty much a good guy, and he suffers for it the entire.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's like
it's kind of all right.
The fact that it's like shit never goes quite his way. Shit never goes quite his way towards until the story goes rolling, and then
gotcha.
But
anyway,
but the thing is, so you have those. So you have those series. Then I get into. I'm trying to remember what the other ones were, because the other ones was like I got into. Well, I read the Robotech books because my friend Liz got them for me. I don't think I read Mercedes Lackey until I was older, and then I was like. No, so before that, I was like, it was the Piers Anthony, it was Michael Moorcock, it was Ray Brett, not Ray Brett, oh god, I can't remember the man's name, but he wrote the Stainless Steel Rat series. Those
I know what you're talking about too. I don't remember the name. God damn.
I remember seeing those books because I used to, you remember the Science Fiction Fantasy Club, where you get a catalog. I remember seeing those books in there all the time and never getting them. But I ordered several books out of that when I was a kid.
Oh, I forgot. I did not mention my. Kenneth Lee. That was okay. You want to talk about one of the ones that informed my youth as a teenager when I went through my kind of almost I did never had a proper goth phase. I had more a punk phase, but I had I got into
I can picture that. That's amazing.
Kenneth Lee.
Imagine a young child like Tim Curry.
Yeah, well,
basically what he was.
Kenneth Lee wrote dark. I mean, this really really dark gothic fantasy, but it was also very very lush and very very purple prosy. Which was, but it was, oh my god, it was so great. We have to have Ingrid on so she can talk to you about how we fell in love with Kenneth Lee's, completely, it's like the what was the way I think I described it once was like gothic album art in literature form, All
right. So I can kind of understand where that's coming from.
So it's a heavy metal album cover as a literary book.
Yeah.
I can go there. Because I've seen my show.
And
yeah.
Oh my god, the things, and of course she also tells a lot of her stories, Kenneth Lee stuff comes off very, very fairy tale-ish.
Okay.
So it's not that it's not worded deeply. It's just the fact that it has this very, very, very amorphous quality to the outside. So it's not a very clearly defined world outside of where you are standing right there, but it's defined enough so that there's this kind of like you're literally walking in a bubble throughout the entire series. And that was high school.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because the thing is that she'll describe a place, she'll describe a setting, right? But the problem is that it's not, when the characters are interacting, there isn't a whole lot around them that you're describing. But, the characters' interactions kind of float into the middle of, this into the middle of where the scene they're in. I've always loved that about her writing, because it made for very, very interesting, if a little wordy and sometimes a little bit kind of like, where the hell, you can lose your place really, really quickly in some of those things. But I loved, oh my god, we did a cosplay of one of her things early on, and I still wish I had. Someone says that one of my friends from the Sick Pups actually said they have video of that first cosplay where our costume literally lasted until the lights went down and then it started falling apart.
But
oh man,
no,
but it's like
you have to understand.
All I have to do
you have to understand.
All right,
because it's costuming, not cosplay.
Yeah,
it's basically the same thing, but it's different. It's a different era. That was your goal. That was your goal, for it to survive through to the end of your skit on the Masquerade. After that, it could turn to fairy dust. It wouldn't matter.
It wouldn't matter.
All that matters is it survived the skit, and then that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like the thing is, literally, I had a helmet made of tin, and it was held on. I think it was actually held on at one point with we had a hot glue and paper clips were holding it.
Hey, you know what?
Because one side would not stay on, and literally the lights came down, and I just said whoop, and the part of the helmet flew off, and I was like, oh my god! We were.
But
laughing.
we did it. We made it.
Oh my god! Yeah, that was.
It's like it doesn't matter. See, nowadays people are so focused on their costume. This is not a bad thing, but it's like if something like that happened, like lights went down, they're done, they've done their showcase, and something fell apart, it would be horrible for them.
They'd be devastated.
But back then. Twing! It survived!
It made it till the lights went down. And that was all.
Yes, that's a success.
And they wrote a rule about us from that was because we dropped the sword on stage on purpose. This was not a mistake. Because we dropped the sword on stage and it nearly killed the stagehand. And I'm going, yeah, I remember what like the stagehand in question was like, yeah, it felt like 3 feet away from me. Whoa. That was we were the reason why a particular con decided to put in a weapons on stage policy that you had to maintain control of it, and you had to warn everyone of what was going to happen with it at all times. And I'm like, we did warn you.
Okay.
They thought we were kidding, I guess, but
yeah.
So so that's my formative year. That's how fandom got. Excuse me, not fandom. That's how geekery got formed into my life, as it were. I mean, it comes from my parents. I'll blame her. I'll blame mom for that one. I'll blame mom for that one. And I'm not.
But it's like for me, it's like aside from Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, didn't really come from my parents.
No, me neither.
Not that they actively discouraged anything, but they are not that kind of geek. What's funny is one of my brothers is, but he was more moved out when I was growing up, and we have like all the same interests. It's uncanny. But for me, I was just always drawn to weird stuff like that.
No, it means that you actually were your parents, and the thing is, it was just the fact that whatever their particular level of non-geekery just happened to like guide you back and follow the path chosen by your brother.
I don't really have any of that. I don't really have any of that. It's just.
Where did you get your first exposure to geekdom then? And besides television,
if you can remember.
Oh, good lord!
And it doesn't matter what it is.
I mean, I figured out that I was interested in the whole fantasy type thing. Through Tamara Pierce.
No, that would do it.
With the teen, what was the first series I read by her? Alana, the Lioness.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first series I read by her, and then
I'm fairly certain she was a guest at LunaCon one year.
Yeah,
I'm fairly certain. She might have been my year for all I know, but yeah.
That was the first. That's that I remember because we didn't have any of
the portal to your safety opened and enveloped you in a world of glittering unicorns.
I mean, I think that's part of why I started looking into the whole dragon thing. Was some of the books I was reading.
You found some
Anne McCaffrey.
Dragons are cool. Oh yeah, Dragon Rise.
Anne McCaffrey. I'm sorry.
That was the other one my mom had me read. Was the Dragon Rise of Pern.
And that was I was reading books like that when I was 10. I think they were adult books.
Did
but
you cry at the end of Moretta?
Moretta,
Dragon Lady of Pern, the one where
I don't remember.
Oh, I remember.
It was so long ago.
It's like I remember. I cried because it was.
Well, the first series I read was actually Dragon Singer, Dragon Song, and Dragon Drums.
Right.
They were the first three I read.
And then there was the White Dragon, and then Moretta came right after that. So Moretta,
okay.
And that's when they came out. I mean, the thing is that Moretta takes place technically before all of that, but. Even in sci-fi writing circles, we're not afraid of
just get
prequels.
If there was ever a fantasy world that I would want to visit, it's not Lord of the Rings. It's not like some people say they want to visit the Witcher's world. I don't understand why you would want to visit the Witcher's world.
Or Game of Thrones. That's the other
Game of Thrones. Really, you're gonna die. I'm sorry.
It's like you will either be one of the random people in the slums living a terrible, horrible life, or you'll die.
Or you'll die.
Or
get turned into a White Walker or something. It's like there's
they won't even get to be that cool.
It's bad ends all around.
Yeah, why do you want... No. I mean, maybe I could possibly decide to visit Hyrule at some point. Maybe. Ish.
Well, Hyrule's kind of a theme park, so you'd probably be fine.
Yeah. Although in Breath of the Wild...
It's still kind of like a theme park.
I guess.
It's
but no, take me to Pern.
Yeah.
Minus the thread.
But it's
take me to Pern!
But it's not a fantasy world.
Yeah, okay.
How's it not a fantasy world?
Has she not read that far?
I guess she's not read that far.
She didn't read that far into it then. Okay.
Okay, whatever.
It gets a real strange sci-fi bent after...
Oh, well, she started... It probably was because she started working with, there's the Unicorn series, which is actually a girl. The other author. She started working with her, and that's probably where they crossed. Because it doesn't surprise me at all, because I did start reading all them. I just can't remember the other author she started working with.
I'm still trying to remember who got me. It must have been... Yeah, it must have been when I
Save the Libraries. Seriously, because that's... My parents didn't get me any of this. I was just digging through books at the library.
My friends... I'm trying to remember whether it was I must have been when I started doing the medievalist group down in Virginia. Is when I got into Mercedes Lackey. I'm fairly certain that's how the timeline. I'll have to check with Liz and see if that's because that sounds about right. But the thing was that, that was another one that was like really. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fodder for your own imagination. I mean, the stories themselves are really, really good. Let's not kid ourselves. But there's also a lot of, it's a large world. It's the world building allows you to expand beyond that world. And God knows everybody had their friggin' OC in that universe for a while. Oh, my goodness.
So, we're starting to go along. So, one last thing. What do you generally geek out to these days? What are your go-to geek outs?
It depends on my mood.
Okay. Well,
you have me playing Diablo. You guys both started me on WoW, for crying out loud. Although Keith is the one who brought me into that one first.
Yeah.
So I have to give kudos to him for that one.
Or
Rogue, depending on... Anyway. But I still read a lot. if I'm in one of those moods, I don't want a screen in front of me because I've been sitting in front of a computer all day, I will pull out my Kindle or another book, and you'll just...
Well, it is technically sitting in front of a screen, though.
Technically, but it's different.
Enough.
It's different enough. It's not the same bright in-your-face screen as computer screens are. Because I don't have a Kindle Fire. I have just a Kindle Paperwhite. I don't want a Kindle Fire. I'll do that.
This page.
Oh no! You just tap it.
I know. It's like just like
tap it.
But you miss out on the whole turning the page.
I prefer books, but from a storage capacity, my Kindle's a lot better. I ran out of books space. I ran out of bookshelf space.
If you only value books because of their physical medium, you don't really value books.
So
the important part is the words. I don't care how the words are put out.
I can understand it.
Like,
I understand the whole flipping.
Like, you can love them, you can prefer them, but don't you once try and tell me that they are superior. It's like, no, it's not.
And then the other thing, I will occasionally, if I don't feel like gaming, I don't feel like losing myself in a book, if I really want to zone out in someone else's story, I'll pull up Netflix and watch something. Currently, I've watched Agent, I've watched Stranger Things. Currently, guilty pleasure, I'm going through Supernatural.
It's not the show.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's just it is.
It's campy.
It's the weirdest bromance soap opera I've ever listened.
Well, that's just it. I'm only in season 2. I haven't even met the whole cast yet. I honestly, I've been watching it off and on. If I have work I have to do from home, because I can have it and I can follow it enough while I'm working. But even if I'm sitting there watching it, it's still just Dean and Sam and them doing their things. I mean, at this point, their father is dead.
Again, or?
No, first time, I guess.
Okay.
Thanks for the spoiler.
No, I'm just guessing. Because,
I don't know.
Because I've seen snippets of this show, and I'm just like, and this character died, and they came back, and then died, and came back, and died.
Apparently that's a thing.
That weird revolving door issue.
That's why seriously.
I asked. But no, I'm only in season 2, and it's enough of I can zone out to this, and as of right now, each episode is its own story. There's the overarching, daddy issues, and
serious
daddy issues. Serious daddy issues.
But it started very much as a Monster of the Week type setup.
Yes, in Scooby-Doo.
Very much.
It reminds me a lot of Scooby-Doo, in that you
about as silly in some parts.
Oh God, you have no idea.
I've watched some of it. I do know.
Yeah.
Okay, this is, I guess, spoilery, but not really. Someone ends up writing books about them because they have like some psychic knowledge of the stuff that happens to them. So
I'm not. That's another overarching thing, and Sam has these psychic abilities, and apparently other people.
So
do
there's
too.
this author that is writing their stories as their own, and it gets super, super, super popular.
So they have a convention
for these stories.
God, that's hysterical. I haven't gotten there yet.
So yes, trust me, we know.
I mean, I know it's campy as hell, but
that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I'm just like,
my sister watches it. And she's like, it's cute.
Yes, it's cute. It's adorable.
Just let me watch my stories.
Exactly.
Let me watch my fluff. Seeing as I deal with all this stress, let me watch my fluff.
I love my sister, but I can't take her entirely seriously because she did read Twilight and did not,
unironically.
Kind of, not really. Actually, it is kind of ironically because the idea is that she thought of it as a goofy little stupid fairy tale, and I'm like, well, that's...
At least you're not defending it as paragon of literature.
I haven't watched them. I've read all 4 books. Bella's a whiny teenager, and Ed
Pants and Thor, man. Pants and Thor.
It's teenage fluff. It really is.
It's barely that.
That's what it was geared towards.
It is a bad fanfic come to life.
And
then there's fanfic of the fanfic.
Yes, there's a bad fanfic of a
fanfic. We are drawing the line there. I don't want to discuss it. I've known too many people who swear by the... no. You don't know what... No. Nope.
Nope. And you also binge out on Tomb Raider a lot.
Yeah, I do.
The new Tomb Raider comes out and you're like, I must play it. Yeah.
Well, currently
and then she'll beat it in 3 days.
Yeah, guilty. Although I haven't done that with the most recent one yet. I keep going back to it. I've gotten to a point where I have to find all the other stuff before I can move on, because I've gotten to that point in the game where if you go past that point, you can't go back.
Right, all the ones before the reboot, you're practically running on muscle memory.
Yeah.
Because even if you haven't played that particular installment, the mechanics are near identical to everything you've been doing.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to think about it.
No, I can just play through them. And I'll do that on occasion. I'll go back and I'll play them in order. Like, I'll start with the first one, and then I'll go first through 6, I think.
God, there's so many of them.
There's 6 for the PS1. And then I'll do...
Really? There are that many on just the PlayStation?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then there's one that came out that's actually 4 individual stories. So maybe there's only 5.
Still a lot.
Yeah, there's 5.
People act like there's only like 2 Tomb Raider games, and then a movie, and then this new one. Like they completely forgot about Tomb Raider 3 and Tomb Raider 4, and
And then there's the PS2 era
the
ones.
one
there's
I
the 360 ones.
The one Angel of Darkness should not exist. So
tell us how you real feel.
You're a boat. I'm sorry, and
You're
the mechanics are horrible. If you thought the mechanics on the PS1 were bad, Angel of Darkness is worse.
Worse than Tank Laura?
Yes. Yes. I am not... I wish I was kidding. I really wish because I'll go back and play it because... And they try... And
She's clunky but endearing.
I don't understand.
Angel of Darkness, die in a fucking fire.
Seriously. Although every time she pissed me off, I would kill her. I dive off of ledges and stuff.
I'm sorry, I love you. She's clunky but adorable.
No, in Angel of Darkness... And then the other thing they did in Angel of Darkness is they decided to give her a romance interest. And it's like, really? This is not
So
Lara
did she
Croft.
finally go all the way with her guns?
That's horrible.
I think I've seen a fanfic of that.
Well, anyway, we will let off there. So Sapphy did very good for her first on-camera appearance.
Well.
Yes,
see, she's doing good.
She's good.
Well.
She's doing good.
Well.
She's doing good.
Shut up.
See, it's not so bad, right? You could do this occasionally. It's like, we're not going to have you every time because, we would never get anything shot if we did that.
Yes.
No,
but
we wouldn't. And I also live someplace else entirely.
So it's like, if ever it's like, we're going to talk about this. You want to join us? Or, I really want to talk about this. Can we do an episode of that? That's when we'll have her on. And, of course, she'll be in the various squatty Let's Plays that we do. Mm-hmm. So, see you all later. I'm Monty Squiggles.
I'm Old Man Wolfie.
Bye, Sapphy.
Don't call me Sapphy. Toodles.